It's time for me to reveal what I made for the So Frugal 22 challenge. My name is Sarah and my channel is knottygnome Crafts. This challenge was hosted by Rayon of the Yorkshire Sew Girl and Sam of Frugalissima, and the idea was to make some garments using fabric from your stash and free patterns. So in my previous video, I detailed how I was going to make an outfit for spring consisting of a t-shirt and a skirt, and I did do that. I presented 3 options in that video, and I did end up going a little bit off track and choosing something a bit different, so it's time for me to show you what I made. For the t-shirt, I decided to go with the Closet Core tee. The fabric that I chose was a cotton spandex jersey that I got from Style Maker Fabrics in a kind of a rosy mauve color. And this was not one of the fabrics that I presented in my other video, but I chose this particular fabric because I thought that it matched really well with the fabric in the skirt that I picked. And it was just a great basic cotton spandex jersey, very stretchy, very nice to work with. The size that I chose was I made a size 2 based on my body measurements, but I did grade up to a 4 at the underarm because I've been noticing lately that some of my t-shirts feel just a little bit tight there, and then I graded back to the 2 at the bust level. I did find this t-shirt very easy to put together, but I did make one, I don't know if it's a mistake, but I did kind of do something that I regret. So when I make a t-shirt, I pretty much always reinforce the shoulder seams with twill tape, and this was no exception. Although the instructions did not say to do any kind of reinforcement in the shoulders, I went ahead and put twill tape in them, but I should have read ahead through the entire instructions because the pattern gives you an option to put a neck and shoulder binding on the t-shirt. And I have done a back neck binding before on t-shirts, but I've never done it this way where the binding is actually incorporated into the shoulder seams. So when it came time to insert my binding, because I had already put twill tape on the shoulders, it made that seam extremely thick, and I actually broke a needle when I was trying to stitch it down. So I do think that if you want to use the neck and shoulder binding that's outlined in the pattern, you should just skip reinforcing the shoulder seams. Also, just in my opinion, this particular neck and shoulder binding did not turn out great. I think not just because of the twill tape that I used, but I just don't really like the way that it looks. I know that the French Navy Stellanty, which is another free pattern, it has a back neck binding, but it's only on the back neck and not on the shoulders, and I just like the way that that looks better. So I think next time if I were to go ahead and make this Closet Core tee again, I would either just skip the binding entirely or I would do it the way that French Navy does it. I just don't really like the way that Closet Core has you insert that optional binding. Now, as far as the fit of the pattern goes, I'm really happy with how it came out. I was actually a little bit surprised that although the t-shirt is very boxy and loose in the body, it actually, the sleeves aren't tight and they're not fitted, but they're much more close fitting than I would expect from such a large boxy tee. And I really like the way that that looks because I think that it prevents the t-shirt from looking too sloppy, even though it is oversized. So I like the design of it, I like the ease of it, I like the fit. The cropped length works really well for me. It's basically just long enough that I can do a tiny little front tuck if I want to. And I do like the pocket as well. So I would make this t-shirt again in the future, just omitting that neck binding. And I think that it could be a staple that I can make over and over again. And I would highly recommend this pattern to others. If you're enjoying this video so far, I would love it if you would give me a thumbs up because it helps more people find my channel. Thank you. Moving on to the skirt that I chose, I did pick the Little Pomegranate Sabina skirt. I've been wanting to make this one for a while since the pattern came out. I like that it has pockets, I like that it's an elastic waist, it's easy to put on and take off, and it has that nice swishy ruffle at the bottom. The fabric that I picked for this one was in one of my options in my other video. It was the Cloud 9 Rayon that I got as a remnant piece from Stash Fabrics, and so this was really quite a bargain. The Cloud 9 Rayon is usually quite expensive, but I was able to get a 2-yard remnant for $18, so $9 a yard. So it was really nice that the pattern was free also because I found that this was a pretty economical skirt to make. Now for this pattern, my body measurements would have put me in the size 8, but when I checked the finished garment measurements, it just seemed like it was going to be plenty roomy, so I went ahead and sized down to the size 6. I also shortened the pattern by 3 inches, and I think that the length of the skirt on me now, I'm 4'9", It's pretty much equivalent to what the pattern cover looks like, so I am glad that I shortened it. If I had left it as is, it would have been sweeping the floor and I probably would have tripped all over myself. So I am glad that I went ahead and did that shortening. I found the instructions for this very easy to follow. I didn't quite do them in the same order as the instructions said, but I had no issues putting it together. I did do something different from the pattern because I wanted to try out using elastic to gather the ruffle. I've never actually tried that method before, and I think the pattern has you do the traditional lines of gathering stitches and just pulling them to fit. But as I said, I'd never tried the clear elastic method, and so I just wanted to see how it worked. And I have to say that I was not a fan. I think maybe the clear elastic that I have in my stash is not very stretchy, so I just had a really hard time maneuvering the fabric and getting it to stitch evenly. And I'm just not personally really happy with that method. I don't like the way that it turned out. And I think in the future I would just stick to the traditional lines of basting stitches because I just find it easier to do, even though it is time consuming. Now my feelings about this skirt is that I do think that it's going to be very comfortable and swishy to wear in the spring and summer, so I'm happy about that. However, I don't think it's the best look for me. I do still find, even with sizing down, that the fit is really, really boxy and it's quite gathered at the top. And just for my frame and my body type, I think that I look better when I have a little bit of a smoother, cleaner line and the waist and hips, and then it flares out below that. And so I think if I wanted to make the skirt again, I would probably try to reshape it a little bit to remove some of the gathering at the top at the waistline and make it just a little bit more of a slim fit there and then flare out in more of an A-line shape. However, because there's so many patterns out there for skirts, I don't really know that I liked this one enough to do that next time, to like do the altering that I would need to make it something that I would really want to wear. So I don't know that I'm going to make this one again, but I'm not against this one. I do think, as I said, that's going to be very comfortable. So I do plan to still wear it, and the fabric is absolutely beautiful. If you have a chance to buy some Cloud9 rayon, definitely do it because it is just such a lovely, gorgeous fabric to work with. It's very stable, it doesn't shift, it doesn't grow on you when you're sewing it, and it actually doesn't wrinkle that much. I was really pleased by how when I washed my skirt, I hang all of my clothing to dry. I don't use the dryer. And even after that, I just did a little bit of steaming and it looks really perfect. I didn't even have to iron it. So it is an absolutely gorgeous fabric, and I think that it makes a beautiful skirt. It's just that although I think that the skirt is lovely, I'm just not sure that it's the best style for me. Now I will insert a clip so you can see what the full outfit looks like together. Because of the bulk of the waistline, I think that this outfit looks best when I do a little bit of a front tuck with the t-shirt, but I do think the colors mesh really well together. I think that it's going to be a very easy breezy summer outfit for when it's really hot. And I'm 100% sure that I will definitely wear both of these pieces separately. So I'm really happy that I chose to make some new patterns for this challenge that I've never made before. And definitely the t-shirt I will add to my repertoire as something that I want to make again. So thank you to Sam and Rayon for hosting the challenge. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm glad I got to try something new. So if you enjoyed this video, you might want to watch this one, which has some other plans for spring. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again next time.